Hey boardies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. This is Moonrollers, not Moonrakers. This is a game whereby you're pushing your luck, rolling dice, trying to complete various cards, and ultimately get the most points to win the game. I'm playing as purple. You can play as one of 5 different factions. You're trying to complete various things, such as we have thrusters, we've got boosters, shields, and we have some damage over here. What you'll be doing on your turn is rolling 5 dice, and they've got various things, all the same kind of distribution on here. Rolling 5 dice, and you're trying to complete one of various cards which are going to come out, and you're going to keep on trying to complete these cards until eventually you've got 3 of one color or one of each of the different 5 colors out. So I've rolled some dice over here. I've got a wild represented by white, and what we're going to try and do is complete one of these cards. So we're going to start off with a starting card, which in this case I'm starting off as purple with these 10 small cubes. So I'm playing with Seller, which gives me ability. If you roll exactly one of these extra die, or basically the purple symbols, you may lock it in as a wild. So let's try and complete one of these things. I've got myself a white die over here, so a wild. I've got some other things. Let's say I take a green die for some reason and lock it in here to try and complete this green thruster. I need to get one more 3 thruster. I do have a wild. Let's say I lock it in and complete it. And now I've done it. Now I can choose to stop, or I can keep on going. I'll show you why I'll do that in a second. So I've got 3 dice left. I have a purple, which means I can roll an extra die. So I'll take that. And I don't have to keep rolling, but I'm going to choose to. This time I've got 2 purple dice, which is not needed for here. I've got myself a wild, and I've got myself a green defense or shield. I don't have any of those. I do have a wild. I can lock it in as a damage. So again, I'm going to take my cube, place it on here, which gives me one of 2 tokens because you take a damage. So you take 2 of these tokens over here, and I'm going to take this one, which could either be 5 prestige points at the end of the games or 2. But if you're playing it as a 2, you need to make sure you do have not more than 3 of these damage symbols. That's symbols, not the tokens, at the end of the game. I'll come back onto that in a minute. So I'm going to take this gets back, shuffled and pushed into there, and I'm going to choose to stop. Now, the thing is, the reason why I stop is if I do not get a blue or do not get yellow, or in this case a wild, then I'll bust, which means I lose any progress this turn. What I tend to do is to prove that I've actually busted or not taken anything else this turn. I place them beneath it, end my turn, I move it up, which I've completed it. So if I happen to keep on going, let's roll these dice. In this case, I've got a blue, so I could have committed 1 blue here, placing 1 cube above. I've got 2 dice left. The purple plus 1 means I can roll an extra die. So I roll 3 dice. If I want to keep on going, in this case, I've still got one thing I need, which is a wild. So I could choose to lock that in. And what's going to happen is the other person's, let's say, going to take their turn. Imagine they complete it. They are then going to take this card. Remember, you're trying to get 3 of the same color, which triggers the end of the game. No one else take any more turns. Or you're trying to get 5, one of each color. So you could end up playing a game whereby you've got 2 blue out and 2 orange out and 1 purple, etc. But as soon as you have 3, or again, 1 of each, ends the game. So imagine this got completed. Somebody else completed the card. If it's the last person in, they are going to take the card. There's no tie breaks. It's just the last person to complete the card. They take this card. They might want this card because if you roll exactly 1 reactor, that's a blue die, then you will lock it in and make it as a wild, but only if you're locking exactly 1. You've got to roll exactly 1 and 1 only of the blue faces. If you roll 2, it won't count. However, I've got points to give out. So we have purple is going to get themselves 1 point, another 2 points, and another 2 points. So give them 5 points in total over here. And yellow player is going to get themselves 2 points, and now yellow player's got this card. In this case, they finished it. Now it's back to purple's turn. So again, you're rolling 5 dice, and you are going to choose a crew to try and complete. So on your turn, you can already have started to work on this one, but you could suddenly, based on your roll, you've rolled 3 orange. You roll your dice first and go, yeah, let's lock in 3 dice and start over here. But on your turn, you've got to keep working on that same card. Again, you could bust, or you can choose to stop, or you can roll again. So if you think you might have a good chance of rolling one of these colors, keep on rolling. Or what might happen is you bust because you didn't roll it, or you could choose to stop and go, nah, I'm safe. I just want to keep lock in 3 points or something. You will not score points unless a card is completed. So if someone completes 3 of a color, or again of 1 of each, then you will not score anything that's left out here. That's how it's going to work. So again, if you bust, that's because you can't lock any dice in. You may only actually complete 1 of these cards on a turn, one of these crew cards, and you may return a hazard card if you complete 1 of these cards, which is a duplicate. So if I've already completed a purple card, which I did on the last game, I can choose to use the new ability, which is if your rolling pool is 1 to 3 dice, you cannot bust if you roll at least 1 extra die. I might choose to play that instead of this card, which I started off with, which is if you roll exactly 1 extra purple die, you may lock it as wild. So if you choose to place it underneath or on top of, you can discard 1 of your tokens. Remember, these are worth points at the end of the game, so you gain points as you go along. and you get points at the end of the game when you reveal your tokens. However, if you have 3 more of these hazard symbols than your opponent, let's say, then you will be not scoring any points. So I would not be scoring myself 12 or 13 points, but they would be scoring themselves 12. So these different symbols on these tokens are either 1 with no hazards, 2 with 1 hazard, or 5 with 2 hazards. And that's how the game's going to go. So most prestige is going to win. So that's how the game's going to go. Apart from that, what I think of the game, so it's nice variety of the 5 different factions. There are 6 of these cards in the game, of which 1 you're going to have as your crew. So there's 5 available if you're going to try and complete it. So it is easier with the crew that you start off with. In terms of the gameplay, obviously the game's going to keep on progressing towards those win conditions, or trigger the in-game conditions to be clearer. And that is because as the game goes on, you're going to get more of these crew cards. Just make sure to try not to bust, and you're trying to get, again, 3 or 1 of each type. And in terms of duration, it's decent. It says 30 to 45 minutes, and that's spot on. It's close to 30 minutes, depending on how, if you want to rush the game. These tokens are very nice, these kind of nice shiny backs. I think a bag would have been better because you can tell which side is which, especially with how these tokens are always cut. Nice sleeving, although as you can see there's a bit of shine going on here, so apologies for that. And I'm hoping the lighting is okay for you as well. Yeah, I like the kind of the theme. I mean, I don't need the sci-fi theme, but it works. I like the playmats which come with it as well. Again, check out my accessories playlist for the obviously these coasters and the dice tray, and maybe see how far dice roll and whether or not you need a dice tray. My rating has gone up as I've been playing it more and more. Probably like a 7.8, which is much higher than average. 6.4 on average, based on over 2,700 reviews at time of recording. David, this is your copy. Any other things to say about the game?
So I backed this on Kickstarter, as I really love the Moonrakers game as well. And it's got lots of familiar crew. So if you've played the Moonrakers game and you've got your favorite crew that you like to search for, they appear again here. So you can sort of like try and collect your favorites as well as the factions and the abilities. So yeah, it's all part of the Moonrakers universe, and I think it's got a very good. It had like quite a few thousand backers when it came out last year.
Cool, yeah, so this is from Ivy Studios. Obviously, search for AmassGames and Moonrakers to see that other video. And yeah, thanks very much for watching. Enjoy the game. Back to the table.